Hey everybody, welcome back to Tech Odyssey. It's been a while. You've been looking at a past version of me for the last week while I was at Mobile World Congress. I recorded all those videos like a week ago. So here I am live in the flesh again, back in the Tech Odyssey studio, and I just got done with the Batman movie, which is really, really good. So anyway, we're going to talk about phones. The OnePlus 10 Pro. And I was lucky enough, I got to talk with OnePlus while I was there, and I got to see it live and in person. Pretty sharp looking phone. It looks very much like a OnePlus phone. You've seen it already, right? I mean, Marquez has covered it, MKBHD, Jerry Rig Everything has ripped it apart and broken it in half. Very interesting phone because this is the first time this has really happened in recent memory. Basically what happened, they launched the phone, OnePlus, they launched it in China, and then it's been crickets for a while now. And it's got the Snapdragon 8 Generation 1, 6.7-inch screen, Quad HD Plus resolution, essentially the same cameras as last year, but hopefully better, right? That would be great. And 120 hertz refresh rate, LTPO, all that cool stuff. 5,000 milliamp battery. Basically everything you could ask for in a modern OnePlus phone. But when is it going to be here? And I've got some news on that because I did talk to the OnePlus person who hopefully will send me a review unit, which would be nice. I would really like to get one of those sent to me instead of have to go buy it because this stuff gets expensive. It's a very expensive habit that I have here buying all these phones. So hopefully in the near future we'll see this phone here. I've been assured it's coming to the US and it'll be here in the near future. So that's a good thing. I think maybe towards the end of March, maybe. No confirmed date yet, so don't take that one to the bank. But I would expect to start seeing things about the phone soon. Is it something that we should consider buying? Now, I haven't had a chance to review it, obviously, but I did get to see one in person. You can see some of the cool video clips here. I apologize. I think I did them mostly vertical because I did do a TikTok about it. Not really a whole lot of secrets here. The biggest secret is, well, we were wondering if it was going to come to the US. That's confirmed. It will be here, and hopefully it will be soon. But is it something that can still compete? There's been a lot of problems, mostly self-imposed by OnePlus over the last year. They got consolidated under Oppo, which is the parent brand. They're part of Oppo now. It's not just a standalone OnePlus. Then we have the fact that, well, it didn't launch whenever it launched in China, which was a really curious thing and a curious way they did business. I don't really know why, other than maybe they just couldn't get their hands on the silicon. Maybe they had issues. We saw that the OnePlus 9 series phones had some significant problems with Android 12, so much so they had to pull and stop the update. So it wasn't just Google with the Pixel phone that had problems. It wasn't just Samsung having any issues. OnePlus arguably had the worst issues of all with Android 12 with the adoption. Then there was the whole, okay, there's not going to be OxygenOS anymore. It's going to be ColorOS, which is what Oppo runs. And now they're saying, okay, the US market is going to get the regular OxygenOS. So I think maybe there's been some changes behind the scenes and they're trying to right this ship. OnePlus had a whole lot of momentum. They really did. And the last couple of years, their phones have been pretty stellar. They've been challenging in the Android space when it comes to bigger phones like Samsung and also Apple, making people maybe rethink, should they buy one of these phones? So positioning themselves in a competitive way, financially and in a marketability perspective, they made good phones. I love the OnePlus 8 series phones. I love the OnePlus 9 series phones. Didn't really like the price tag. Didn't really like the marketing. But they are good phones. I even went so far as to going up to New York City several years ago for the OnePlus 7 Pro launch. Of course, that was on my own dime. But I had a good time, which is crazy because it feels like this has been so long ago. It's like 3 years, basically. And back then, I had 2,200 subscribers. So life has changed a lot since then. But I do genuinely like the phones. I like them because they're zippy. I always enjoyed OxygenOS. It's very refreshing, quick, very frills-free, and it's just been a nice experience. There's always been stock Android with the Pixels. There's been One UI with the Samsung phones, and there's been OxygenOS. And most people generally take it to be a breath of fresh air, pun intended with the oxygen. So I do like it. I like what they do. A lot of the internal politics and business really kind of found their way to the forefront, and I think is what's messed things up. But beautiful phone, solid hardware. I don't think it's going to snap in half in your pocket. And you're going to hear a lot of this narrative once the phone gets ready to come out because it's public knowledge. Everyone has seen, well, not everyone, but, hyperbole, the OnePlus phone, Jerry Rig Everything, snapped it in half with his hands. That's very problematic when you're expecting to buy a phone. Well, it's kind of hard to do that with, let's say, an iPhone because, well, the frame is like aluminum or stainless steel. It's very hard to bend them in half, especially the Pros. And I have the S22 in my hands, and I wouldn't risk doing that because I had to pay for this. I'm sure Jerry Rig Everything did too, but he probably made $50,000 off of the phone. Just throwing that out there. I'm going to make like 48 cents. So I'm not snapping this in half. However, I think from a structural integrity perspective, it's probably going to be okay because most people aren't going to take their phone and go like that really, really hard. And he looks like he's probably got some pretty strong arms. So I don't know. Maybe one day he and I can have an arm wrestling contest, but I'll probably lose that too. Anyway, so the phone itself, I feel pretty confident in it that it's probably going to be all right. Most people don't do that to their phone. And the way that it breaks is not something where if you put it in your back pocket, that's going to end up being something that happens to it. And I think a lot of the issue is there's a problem with the integrity of the frame itself because the way they position the volume mute switch over on the right-hand side breaks the continuity of the aluminum. So I think that's what he had said helped lend itself a little bit to that. But hey, if you're worried about it lasting a long time, the flashlight on the back, that LED flash, even when he ripped it apart, it was still working for like ever. So a lot of different things. I feel like they've kind of realized they had a crazy moment, like one of those outbursts where people probably shouldn't see that they were doing some crazy things. And they've had a lot of stuff happen to their reputation over the last year. So maybe this will be something that helps right the ship. Maybe they'll lower the price again. And a lot of people really feel like they settled. And largely, I don't really mind this whole settling thing. As long as you settle and it works out well for the consumer. I was never a diehard OnePlus fan. I didn't even own a OnePlus phone until the OnePlus 6T. I thought it was pretty good. And then the OnePlus 7 Pro, and then I got the OnePlus 8, the 8 Pro, the 9 Pro. I've had basically every OnePlus phone since the 6T. And they've gotten better and better and better. And it felt like with the OnePlus 9 Pro, it really did feel like they kind of settled, and then they wanted to charge too much money. The whole allure of OnePlus was flagship killer, never settle, give you all these great things, and not charge you $1 million. And then they decided, you know what, I think we want to be greedy and we want to be like Samsung. We want to be equal to them and we want to charge $1,000 for our phone. And it just, once you get over that $1,000 hurdle, it changes the diopter on the little eye vision test and it makes you look at things and scrutinize them a little bit differently. Once you get over that $1,000 price point, yeah, that's a serious thing. Of course, it would be just as serious at $999, $950, $899, whatever. But it seems like once they get to that $1,000 price point, the expectations and the reality of what you should get with the phone, I think people look at it, well, a little bit with a little more scrutiny, and as they should. It's a very expensive phone. So hopefully this makes them backtrack a little bit. It doesn't seem like they've done anything too revolutionary, which means ideally maybe they can save some money and give us a little bit better price. I think around the $899 price point for a Pro really is where it should have been the whole time. And when you start trying to ask, what, like $1,050, something like that for the last one, it was too much, and it just didn't deliver in quite the way I think that we would have expected it to. And then they had their internal problems. They throttled the phone. And there was stuff that really kind of turned a lot of people off. And it made OnePlus more of a 1- out in the phone space. So when you look now at the Pixel 6 coming in at $599 and $899, there's a very, very narrow window there because I think arguably most people would say, well, I know the Google brand, I know the Apple brand, I know the Samsung brand, I've heard of OnePlus, I've seen them on the carrier shelves the last few years. It's hard to ask that. If you get a Sony phone, even if it's not good, most people are like, okay, Sony, yeah, that's a $1,000 phone. I could pay that, I could see that. Or you look at Samsung, okay, yeah, I understand, they charge $1,000 for a phone. And then a lot of people are like, well, OnePlus, even though they've been in the States, they've been on carrier since the 6T, which has ended up on T-Mobile. They've done a lot of pathfinding in the United States market when it comes to smartphones and getting them out on store shelves. But I don't think they really can still quite command exactly what Samsung can, whether I agree with Samsung charging that much or not. So I like the phone. I'm interested to see how it pans out. Hopefully I'll get one in my hands. If not, I'm going to buy one way or the other. I'm going to cover it for the channel, so no worries there. Love the green color. Interesting with the stovetop look on the back with the cameras, but we'll see what happens. I hope that all the things that have happened over the last year have really helped OnePlus reevaluate its game plan. And of course, they're not going to pander or cater to the enthusiasts anymore, which just seems to be, they realize that to really get mainstream and to make a bigger footprint, that they have to do some things to try and throw themselves out there. The whole game plan all this time has been enthusiast market, loyalty, supporters, all that stuff, which is good. But as they started to go more mainstream, they started to catch a lot of flack from those guys and kind of catering more towards a wider audience. they have made a lot more money. And of course, businesses want to make money, but the problem is it's kind of contrary to their identity and the way they've handled themselves and their reputation, what they stood for the last decade. So we'll see what happens. I will get one when it gets here. I think it's an interesting phone. Competition is key. Competition is key because that's what allows us to get better phones, better stuff at better prices across the board. And you can see that when you look at something like Google and their Pixel phone, or OnePlus and selling a flagship killer phone, it helps keep brands like Samsung and Apple honest, meaning they can't just run away, run away with the reins and let the horse go and charge us $1,500 for a flagship phone. Yeah, they do that with the foldables, I get it. But competition is always better. So if we have a healthy market, we don't have LG anymore, we need OnePlus now more than ever. You look at it, we've got Apple, we've got Samsung, we've got Google trying to hold on, we've got Motorola, who's really confused about what they do, and hopefully they're coming out with this brand new foldable at the end of the year, and then OnePlus. There's not a lot of options here, right? So more options are better. I'm rooting for them. I want to see a good phone. I want to see it sell well, and I want to see it perform well. That would be great because then that gives us another solid phone in the US in our arsenal. So we'll see what happens, but I wanted to bring that to you guys. More happy is coming if you're a OnePlus fan, and hopefully as a OnePlus fan it makes you happy, but also hopefully it makes people who buy it or want to buy it very happy with it as well. So we'll see. That's all I've got. What do you think? Do you think OnePlus can resurrect their image? Do you think that they can make this brand rise again like a phoenix? Do you think that they've got a chance now after what's happened over the last year, or do you not even care anymore? Do you care about OnePlus, or do you not care about them at all, period? They're not for you, or has your impression of them remained unfazed by all the political and marketing shenanigans of the last year? We'll see what happens. I'm interested to see myself, but I'll definitely get it and test it out for you, the people who care about these phones. So that's all I've got. If you have any questions or comments, please head down to the comment section. I'll get back with you. Glad to be back here. Glad to be back home. Going to make some content, I think, maybe about following up on the Mobile World Congress stuff. So a lot of cool stuff there. And as always, if you like the videos, you like the channel, if you like me, consider hanging around, hit that like and subscribe button and the notification bell if you want the persistently annoying notifications that come up every single day because I make videos every day. That's all I got, guys. Have a great night. Go see the Batman movie. It was good. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.